Hey, welcome to the Hutchison House. I'm Leah Marlene. Thank you so much for stopping by. As you know, Trump won. That's not news to you. You knew Trump won. And you also probably knew that Trump won the internet. Legacy media is crushed by this, and they're scrambling to reinvent themselves and try to make themselves relevant yet again, because they've always been leading the charge in marketing and having all of Hollywood backing them. They've been the ones. They have been the go-to, and now they're the run from. Watch what Dana White says as he lights them up, as he explains how the internet really won the election for Trump.
That's not because, like, when you had the speech when he got elected, you think like that's what the boys, like all the podcasters. So it seems like a lot of young men like relate well to Trump. So it's like just like how the fighters kind of relate to him tonight.
So I've had this philosophy for the last 5 years that traditional media is dead, and it doesn't hold the influence that it used to hold. The two most hated people in this world right now are the media and the politicians. Nobody trusts them, and nobody believes them. And the true influence right now is with these kids that are on the internet, and they're called influencers. So I've been creating relationships with these people over the last, like I said, 4 or 5 years. And this election was won on the internet.
Dana White is spot on. People just don't trust the media, and they don't trust politicians either. And that's also why Trump won, right? Because he's not the regular run-of-the-mill politician. He's a businessman turned politician. That's another reason why they hate him. But now they're trying to slander anybody, who is supporting him. We already know that. This is going to be going on for 4 years. But if they don't change their tune and try to reinvent themselves in an authentic way, which is an oxymoron, I don't know how they're going to survive this, because just bashing us and gaslighting us is not going to work anymore. The American people have wised up to that. Watch Joe Rogan respond to Joy Behar, and it's hilarious that Ari keeps calling him her Joey Behar. It's hilarious. Watch this.
So the radio, Joy Behar was trying to say that I believe in dragons.
Wait, what is this? I just heard about it.
I checked it. And the lady goes, "Did you double check this?" She goes, "I checked it. He believes in dragons."
Should be like
Sasquatch. They live alongside of people.
Wait,
it was from a wildlife biologist who came on my podcast. It was from Forrest Gallant.
You're taking Joey Behar, whatever her name is, as like a news source.
No. This is the most important part.
I don't know.
Hey, this is the most important part. This is right after she was saying, "We are run by ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons." So she by saying we should trust them because they're double checked by ABC News, and then making the stupidest fucking statement. Like you didn't listen to what I said. Yeah. You didn't listen to what the wildlife biologist, and that's only a part of what he said.
I can't believe
the other
Joy
part of what he
Behar
said was there was something before that where he was explaining encounters with giant reptiles. And there's also, listen,
it doesn't make sense to me that a middle-aged woman could be dumb.
When you're worried about losing your job and you're worried about podcasts taking over and who's the source of news, and we said Donald Trump was Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us and he won, and this is fucking great, and Joe Rogan believes in dragons. It's just frantic.
Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons, I checked it. He believes in dragons. He believes in dragons.
Did you triple force that?
Yes, I did.
For obvious reasons, that is ridiculous. And if you want to see the whole video on that, I have a video on that. I'll clip it at the end about Joy Behar and her gaslighting all of us about Joe Rogan. She clearly doesn't watch any of that. They don't have the patience to watch it. And that's why Kamala never did one of those interviews, because she thinks everything needs to be highly produced, highly edited, and then spewed out in a manufactured way. But people don't want that anymore. They want to hear politicians for 3 hours talk. That's why JD Vance was so great on Theo's podcast. That's why Trump was so great on Theo and Joe Rogan and what was the other one? Andrew Schultz. I mean, this is why Trump won. Right? Because not only can he talk for hours on end without a script, off the cuff, he's very personable, he's very funny. They hate all of that about him, of course. But this is what manufactured looks like. Now, this video I'm about to show you is Kamala. I guess it's her before she got drunk and did the Thanksgiving drunk life coach thing. This is her before that happened. This is what it looks like when they try to produce something and put it out, right? This is not Joe Rogan. This is Kamala style Joe Rogan. Watch.
And to share our appreciation for one another. Surrounded by family, friends, and those we cherish. We cook our favorite recipes. We share family stories, serve those in need, and give thanks for our blessings.
On Thanksgiving, we also express our gratitude as a nation for our service members and their families who sacrifice so much to protect our nation and our most sacred values.
We are truly grateful for their service.
So again, from our family to yours,
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Okay. How creepy was that? I mean, was that her before she got hammered? I can tell she's like, come on, let's just do one more take. Come on, let's do one more take, Dougie. Dougie, the damn election. And then she just started getting hammered. And she's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do one more video. I'm going to do one more video thanking the American people. Just you guys, you don't stop believing in yourself. I mean, it was sad. If you want to see that, I'll link that at the end as well. But this is what it looks like when you have no authentic bone in your body and you try to manufacture everything. They can't even genuinely say, Happy Thanksgiving. We love each other. Happy Thanksgiving. It's all a big phony act. They hate the fact that people woke up to this. They hate the fact that Trump exposed the truth. That's why they tried to take away his voice, right? That's why they said, don't listen to him, don't talk to him. I've said this in many videos before, but I think one of the biggest mistakes Kamala made in her campaign was encouraging people to go talk and listen to Trump, right? Because before, what they had going for them is that the only thing people were hearing about Trump were lies that they told about him. They silenced him. They took him off Twitter. They deplatformed him and they called him a Nazi, racist, Hitler, right? So don't talk to him. But then once people started listening to him and talking to him, and Elon Musk opened up and bought Twitter and named it X, of course, and then gave him a platform, and then podcasters were opening up and listening to Trump, they changed their view. But not only that, they woke up to how corrupt even Obama is. Watch Joe Rogan, who was a lifelong Democrat and even really liked Obama all the way until the Kamala campaign. And the real truth came out about who this person is. Watch Joe Rogan explain why they lost him. And maybe you agree.
Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
I don't understand how we got so toxic, so divided, and so bitter. And
He said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that.
Did you have a high opinion of him before?
Yeah, I did just as an intelligent person, a statesman. He's probably like caught up in the system. It's very difficult to make real meaningful change. You think you're going to do something and then you get into office and you're like, oh God, what a quagmire this place is. But watching him just straight up lie about Trump.
The childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
The thing that got me was that very fine people thing, the white supremacist thing. They just kept trying to say that he was a racist.
when he's not complaining, he's trying to sell you stuff. You're running for president and you're hawking merchandise, gold sneakers, $100,000 watch. Why are you selling a watch? What are you doing?
Which is this thing that I think worked in like 2017. I don't think it works anymore. I don't think people believe it anymore. We've gotten numb to all this stuff. Obama during this Kamala Harris administration, it changed my opinion of that guy.
I don't understand how we got so toxic.
Obama, we got so toxic because you kept brewing the division. You kept stewing and brewing and I don't know, whatever else, fueling the fire. You created the division. If you guys remember, before Obama, we were all doing pretty good. And then everyone was like, yeah, we want to vote for the first Black president. And so he won overwhelmingly and he won 2 times over. And by the end, people are like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. This made it worse because he lies. And he was like really the spearhead of the entire division campaign. And I think that really he was behind Kamala's entire campaign. And that's why he was so mad that they didn't vote for her, because now he doesn't have the control like he's had for a long time. What do you think about that? If you're receiving value from this video and any of my reaction videos, please subscribe. I want you here. I want you here at the Hutchison House, where we can have real conversations. Now let's watch the legacy media as they spin out and they try to come up with ideas on what they think they're going to do to save themselves. It's pretty sad. Watch.
Voters delivering a final verdict against Democrats and their vision for America. But some in the party are focusing more on media platforms instead of policies. The New York Times with this story last week, quote, Republicans built an ecosystem of influencers. Some Democrats want one too. Democrats were badly outflanked online in the election, and progressive influencers are now trying to create networks to be a left-wing answer to Turning Point USA. The CEO of one company trying to launch liberal influencers told the Times, quote, we got killed in alternative media. Republicans have been investing in that space for years. And on the left, we've treated creators who are not in legacy media as gig workers. Joining us now is the founder of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk. It's great to have you on the program. And what is your reaction to the fact that the Democrats are now trying to copy the Republican model because they realized how successful it was with Donald Trump in the election?
Well, they finally woken up that their strategy hasn't worked. In the 1920s, radio was finally used in American politics. In the 1960s, of course, we remember the first televised debate of Nixon v. Kennedy. This election will go down in the history books of where long-form podcasting changed the way that voters made their decisions. At Turning Point USA, we built an influencer army over the last decade, and we were mocked by many on the left and the media saying, oh, that's a waste of time. That's just people talking in their echo chamber. Now, the smart people on the left are complaining to the New York Times that what we built actually made a sizable and significant and measurable difference this last election cycle. And President Trump deserves extraordinary credit here because he was willing to take the risk to go to long-form podcasting. It's very easy to say, oh, yeah, your candidate should do podcasting. No, that's 3 hours of no scripting, no breaks. You have no idea where that conversation is going to go, where it's going to weave, where what topics are going to be covered. Kamala Harris had an opportunity to do long-form podcasting with Joe Rogan or Theo Vaughn, and her team said, no, too risky. We're just going to kind of keep her in the safe media bubble environment. One of the reasons why we were able to have a red wave and a landslide is that our candidate and our entire movement was willing to go to places where people don't always share our ideas. We can agree to disagree, have dialogue and discourse, and put it on display for tens of millions of voters. And young people in particular saw that, and they voted the most Republican they have in over 30 years.
I think 100% right on the strategy and the fact that it was unique. But for example, let's just say Kamala Harris had sat down with Joe Rogan. If she was peddling the same messaging, if the messaging isn't on point when you're talking to that crowd of people, you have to know your audience, and obviously President Trump does. If she stuck with her messaging, I'm not necessarily sure it would have had the same impact for her.
That's a very smart point. There's an argument to be made that she would have done even worse if she sat down with Joe Rogan. So that their team had to kind of weigh it like, well, our candidate is not very good at defending her positions, and her positions are very unpopular. So should we put her into the lion's den of a 3-hour type conversation? And that is one of the other reasons why we were able to see such historic numbers this election. Yeah. Our ideas are just better, and they're not necessarily conservative or liberal. They're just common sense. We want borders, we want safe streets, we want sound currency, we want efficient government, we want a prosperous economy. Young people want to own homes. And the other side, they have radical left-wing positions that get exposed in that type of long conversation of podcasting, of dialoguing, and social media, where you might be able to hide in a 7-minute type scripted television interview. But boy, when you go to a podcast host with no notes, those ideas get flushed out and the audience is able to judge
absolutely
significantly and correctly.
And of course, when she had it handed to her on The View, a silver platter, golden opportunity, she couldn't even take that. And
let's hear from legacy media themselves about Elon Musk toying with the idea with Don Jr. Trump about buying MSNBC. What do you think about this? Do you think Elon should buy MSNBC? Do you think it's possible? Watch what they have to say about this.
I don't think that we have the luxury to dismiss it as him being someone who's being funny.
I ask you about this idea of media takeover because after Elon Musk purchased Twitter, changed it into X, there's no doubt that he exercised some power there. So how do you hear this even ingest kind of purchase of a cable network?
Good to be with you tonight.
Good to be with you as well.
Thanks for having me. I think that we should believe everything that is said coming from this administration. I don't think that we have the luxury to dismiss it as him being someone who's being funny or someone who is just being himself, or that is his brand. X, and you said in some ways, always. I feel like X, I don't know if anyone is on it in any capacity. I don't know if you're on it. And you're the only one? You're on it? You all are on it? Okay. I've actually decided to take a rest of peace because it is not a peaceful place for me. And I know if in fact you don't agree with this current administration, most people can say that it's not a peaceful place. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an actual bid made to take on MSNBC, but the fact that it just can't happen in real life.
And we just can't. It's
officially
not even for sale.
It's not officially for sale.
The last
It's not
time
even
he
realistic.
mused about maybe buying something.
They say, take him seriously, but it just can't happen. He bought Twitter, but it just can't happen. One of the richest men in the world couldn't possibly buy a failing network. That couldn't happen, right? They're still so pompous. And then the fact that they try to say nobody's on X, it's one of the leading social media, if not the leading. Let me know, is it the leading or second to leading social media in the world? And by the way, statistically, there's still more Democrats on the platform than there are Republicans. So they're completely incorrect. But they don't feel welcome and safe because they didn't get their way. So they've got to take their ball and go home. And that's their way with everything. Why? Right? Watch this.
It's not even realistic in real life, but I do believe that media, everyone sitting here at this table, if you don't agree, we're in for some tough years ahead. I do believe that we are not going to be able to be as safe or say what we want to. I don't think free speech is going to be as free.
Now, Scott, I want to bring you in here because this kind of link to Orban, we don't pull it from nowhere. There was a former member of the Hungarian parliament who was writing in Politico who kind of talked about this effort by that government and how specific it was in terms of purchasing media specifically for propaganda. Do you hear why they're making that connection?
I mean, is the concern that certain media outlets would become propaganda arms of political ideologies? I mean, don't we already have that in this country at a large scale? I mean, also, I heard what you're saying about X. I saw a survey this week.
Exactly. He is fantastic. I don't know how he can sit on this panel. He must get a lot of massages or have some really amazing self-care, because this takes a really dynamic person to be able to sit with these people. Yeah, you're getting paid, but every single day to just be hammered, and his expressions are so funny. But they're saying exactly what they've been doing. They have been a propaganda arm. They have not delivered the facts. Of course, we all know they called Trump a fascist. They still do. They called Trump Hitler. They still do sometimes. And he won. So what are they saying about majority of the people in the country? How are they stewing? Why do I keep saying stewing? Stewing the fires? That's not right. But you get what I'm saying, of division and hate and fear. Really, they've been fear mongering for years and years. But listen to Scott Jennings. Bring the facts.
It's now the most, I saw a survey this week. It's now the most ideologically balanced user platform.
Stop. It's too early. I just sat down. I've only been here for 2 minutes. You cannot continue to say you cannot say that.
You cannot say that, she says. You cannot say facts. Don't you know this is CNN? Constantly negative news? We can't say facts that are possibly uplifting and aren't full of fear. We can't do that. She doesn't want anything to do with this. It's hilarious. I like him a lot.
For 2 minutes. You cannot continue to say you cannot say that. That's not the case. Who's the source?
What I find, we reported it on this network.
It's not accurate, and you know it.
Okay, I'll let you make your statement.
That was my favorite part. Who's your source? This network. Constantly negative news. We reported that. And she's like, well, that is not accurate. Now, that was the most truthful thing she said, is that they don't deliver accurate news. She's like, that can't be true because we never tell the truth. But sometimes they do. Okay. because I do believe Scott in this, and I think he is hilarious and very steadfast. But let's listen up some more.
Can I reframe it a different way? Because the site changed radically, right? So whether you think the voices it is somehow more balanced now, that's fine. But no doubt Musk's influence is profound, and that you open it up and now you're there with his opinion, and he is now part of this administration. So does anyone else think that there should be this greater concern about billionaires purchasing media companies?
Okay. Would you be worried if Bill Gates controlled MSNBC?
No, because he's sane.
Because MS in MSNBC
it was MS.
comes from Microsoft. It was a partnership between Microsoft and NBC way back in the 1990s, back when Microsoft was under investigation by Bill Clinton's DOJ for monopoly. I don't remember anybody panicking over MSNBC back then.
No, they definitely did. But yeah, continue. Well, like Fox was launching, MSNBC was launching. The cable news network was shifting. The landscape.
But isn't the issue that the left has gotten so used to controlling almost all institutional information distribution arms in this country that when one little piece of it, whether it's X or MSNBC or anything else, gets taken away, the panic is so outrageous. I mean, that's how used to the left is having control of all of it.
I don't think that. So to buy MSN, he would go under some federal regulations.
Who's regulating CNN right now?
The FCC.
We're not a broadcast. It's cable.
I mean, I don't really think cable stations are under the same regulatory structure.
It doesn't go over public airwaves.
That broadcast is.
It's definitely regulated more than than Facebook and
They're
Twitter.
still what she's saying.
And by the way, they do regulate them, but they just say anything that's factual is disinformation, misinformation. I mean, look at them scrambling. They're like, wait, we're not regulated? Oh, wait, that's right, because we say whatever we want, and then we gaslight people if they bring facts and say that those aren't true. They can't handle this. They can't handle the truth. I mean, it is just absolutely ridiculous. So now they're calling it the Joe Rogan election because we know that Trump won the internet, and that includes Joe Rogan. Let's watch legacy media spin out some more about Joe Rogan interviewing Trump and actually changing his mind because, see, he was, like I said, a lifelong Democrat. He wanted Bernie Sanders. He voted for Obama. They can't stand it when people use their brain, open up their mind, and change their mind. They don't like that because, see, they like full control. I really am beginning to think, if not totally thinking, that legacy media is full of really extreme narcissists. What do you think? Watch this.
The Joe Rogan election. Bernie Sanders, who was endorsed by Joe Rogan in 2020. Yes, you heard me correctly. Rogan endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2020, then endorsed Trump this time, criticizing Kamala Harris and Democrats for not going on Rogan's show.
Look, you can have an argument with Rogan, agree with him, disagree with him, but what's the problem going on in those shows? It's hard for me to understand that.
See, at least Bernie Sanders, who I don't agree with on pretty much everything as far as his policies, at least he gets it. At least he can say, you know what? I understand why this worked. They can't even understand it. They want to keep telling us that, Joe Rogan is a dragon lover. They want to keep telling us that Trump is a fascist, and it's just not working. And you know what? If you had conversations with these people, since you think that we're all so stupid anyway, wouldn't it expose the stupidity if that was true? But see, legacy media knows that it's not true. And that's why they're spinning out, because they're being exposed. Watch Bernie Sanders talk about it. Watch Joe Rogan talk about it. Watch CNN spin out about it. If they would just open up their minds to new ways, like a new way could be telling the truth, that would be a really great idea.
Comes as Rogan reveals exactly what went on behind the scenes that led to Vice President Kamala Harris turning down an interview that would have reached 50 million people.
I bet there's a person in there. I bet I can get to that person.
Yeah.
I wanted to find that person. I don't want to hear all the speeches. I don't want to hear, I was raised middle class. I don't want to hear any of that.
She's a roller skater. You know that?
No, I would love to find that out.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to her about all kinds of shit. I literally said, because there was a few restrictions of things they didn't want to talk about, but I said, I don't give a I go, get her in here. Like, whatever you want to talk about. And they want to know if I edit. I'm like, there's not going to be any editing. There's no editing.
Yeah.
We're not going to edit.
Back out front tonight, former political speechwriter, CNN political analyst John Avlon. He lost his race on Tuesday for New York's 1st congressional district on eastern Long Island. He also didn't think Donald Trump would win again, and he is not alone. So I do want to talk about Rogan, John Rogan, and with Rogan and
look how flustered she is. She can't take it. First of all, she can't take that Joe Rogan has a viewership like that, 50 million. She probably just read that stat. She was so mad having to say that. And now she's so flustered because she's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to start telling the truth. People are going to start seeing through me. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that they know that they're lying? Or do you think that they really believe they're telling the truth? Let's watch a little more.
Influencers. But, I just want to start first with your campaign. You're out.
Let's just back it up a little bit. I got to see her fumbling and stumbling one more time. That was hysterical.
Influencers. But
and would you have liked to see Kamala roller skating? Now, that could have been interesting. Why didn't her and Dougie get out there and roller skate? That would have been more authentic than that weird Thanksgiving video, don't you think?
Rogan. John Rogan, and with Rogan and influencers. But, I just want to start first with your campaign. You're out there every single day. You left it all on the table, all of it, day in and day out. And you just wrote about what you saw on the Bulwark. I hope everyone will go read it. But you talked about some of the things that you saw. And one of the things I know that you write about that I hope people will read, but that really stood out to me when you and I talked earlier today, is the enthusiasm that Democratic voters had in a conservative district for the American flag.
Absolutely. And this is the kind of thing that gives you hope, that reminds you that maybe we're not as deeply divided as our politics makes it seem. Democrats in particular were thirsty for this idea of we need to reclaim the American flag because it belongs to all of us. We need to reclaim patriotism. And I think some folks think that, patriotism is something you should hold at arm's length, and that America is fundamentally flawed. I think actually Democrats want to reclaim the flag. The fact it's become a partisan signifier is exactly what's a problem in our politics.
That is a problem in your politics. But the problem is you guys created that. You said that the flag was racist, that anybody who had the American flag was a racist or fascist. You guys created a monster, and now you're trying to spin it like you always do and change the dialogue, right? I love that you want to bring patriotism back. I think that's what the Trump campaign really showed people, especially on the left, is that, hey, we can be prideful as Americans. American people are a melting pot, by the way. We love immigration. We love legal immigration. See, this is where the Democrats have totally missed the mark over and over and over. And finally, the Republicans have been smart with their marketing. I think Barron Trump really helped Donald Trump, right? Because Barron knew he had the heartbeat on America. He knows that influencers are very important now because people are trusting Joe Rogan over CNN, and CNN can't handle it. I want to know what you think. Do you think that Kamala would have had a better chance if she went on Rogan? Do you think that would have hurt her more? It might have hurt her because I don't think she could handle 3 hours. I think it would have exposed her. But maybe, just maybe, like Rogan said, would have got to the real person and we would have seen him roller skating, or she would have gone out with Theo Vaughn and they would have been roller skating and America would fall in love with her, right? If we saw something like that, but we didn't. We saw this manufactured spin. But now AOC and all of them are going to try to get their own Charlie Kirk rendition. What do you think of that? Them trying to spin off. I mean, hey, I also want to know what you think about Joe Biden pardoning Hunter Biden for 11 years, by the way, 11 years worth of anything that he did 11 years ago, all the way up until today. And I think from now until forever, the guy is pardoned from anything. What do you think about that? If you want to watch the video reaction on Joe Biden pardoning Hunter Biden, Cracky Hunter, then watch this next video right there. Hunter, now that would have been a party, huh? To see what's going on in Hunter's mind.